Welcome to the discussion. Today, what we are going to discuss is the constant grid collapse of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Everyone, and then we continue to hear grid collapse, grid collapse. We want to know what is actually grid collapse, why it continues happening, and what you and I can do, and what government should do to solve this problem once and for all. Without forgetting about 1.7 trillion naira, or what am I saying? 7 trillion naira have been spent since the privatization of electricity. Yet Nigerians continue to crumble, continue to cry constantly about the power supply. So, without much wasting of your time, because I promise I won't waste your time, let's discuss this constant power outage. So, before I continue, South Africa is generating 30,000 megawatts. Egypt about 40,000 or 50,000 megawatts. So also is Morocco. But why Nigeria with about 240 million population only depend on 5,000 megawatts? So it is saddening. Like, I'm not going to waste your time. Let's go analyze it together. Don't forget, this is just discussion. We are not accusing anybody, and we are not insulting anyone. But this is Nigeria. It belongs to both of us. So if an issue continues to happen, we discuss it on this channel. Before I go again, please subscribe, like, and share this video. God bless you. I'm explaining this constant blackouts. Nigeria's 564th grid collapse, and why it won't stop. It won't stop now if Nigerian government refuse to solve the main issue. So here's the background. Nigeria National Electricity Grid collapsed on Friday, January 23rd, 2026 at 12:40 p.m. That's the time the blackout happened. Everywhere in Nigeria went dark, marking the first grid failure of the year and occurring just 25 days after the December 29th, 2025 collapse. So the last time it happened was December 29th, 2025, just about 25 days. Power generation prompt from over 4,500 megawatts to just 24 megawatts, with all 23 power plants. Nigeria have 23 power plants losing output, and all 11 distribution companies recording zero allocation. There was zero allocation to all 11 distribution companies, and we have about 23 power plants. So they are plunging 340 million Nigerians into darkness. The collapse was caused by simultaneous stripping of multiple 230 kV transmission lines and disconnection of generating units. Nigeria holds the global record for citizens without electricity access. Jesu Olugbalegba, 86 Nigerians do not have access to electricity due to power lines not being in their location, and has 86.8 million people and has experienced over 564 grid collapses between 2000 to 2022, averaging 2 collapses monthly, despite over 7 trillion in post-privatization interventions since privatization of electricity in Nigeria. 7 trillion naira have been spent, but like I said, I don't want to waste your time. Let's go. So on Friday, January 23, 2026, at exactly 12:40 p.m. power drops from 4,500 megawatts to 24 power. So we have a zero. We have this 0 megawatt being allocated from all the 11 distribution companies, from the 23 power plants in Nigeria. So all the states here, they all went dark, total darkness. It is sad. So see historical pattern 2000 to 2000 year 2000 to year 2022, 564 collapses. That is average of 2 collapses per month. Now in 2024 we have 8 plus collapses. In 2025 we have 4 collapses: January, February, March, September and December. In 2026 January 23rd, so we started collapse again. So this is the third year in a row whereby there is a power collapse, grid collapse in January. It happened in 2024, it's happened in 2025, it's already happened. Will it happen in 2027? It depends on our government. So now let's compare Nigeria with just 240. Nigeria with 240 population is just having 5,000 megawatts. South Africa with just 64 million population, they have 40,000 megawatts. Egypt with 115 million population, they are having 40,000 megawatts. Algeria with just 48 million population, they have 50,000 megawatts or more. So Nigeria has 4 times population but only having 1/8 of power generation. It is sad. Look at the population. So 7 trillion naira spent since privatization. 7 trillion naira spent. So currently let's see the major failed projects and some that are still going. Cement presidential power initiative incomplete. That one is incomplete. We don't even know where they are now. World Bank intervention failed. The federal World Bank gave Nigerians some money for power generation, yet we don't know. There is a loan ongoing now from African Development Bank, yet we don't know no result. So Siemens, we don't know what it was. Bugari that commenced this Siemens president. We don't know any update from there. We don't know what is happening. We don't know update. What is happening? So all this 7 trillion since privatization, where is this money going? Where is this money going? Please, government, where is the money going? So about 330 kV, all continue to tripping all at the same time, simultaneously tripping. They were simultaneously tripping. Cancel. It is well. So it is crazy. So who is affected? 240 million Nigerians, were entire country was in that. Small businesses losing inventory. Nigerian businesses were shut down. Hospitals on emergency. So hospitals are supposed to be use power for their for emergencies. They have to rely on generator, and generator that is not stable now. So they are unable to store the nation loses billions because now they have small business has to now depend on generator on generator, and some people that can't afford the fuel, they have to wait on the power is restored, until power was restored, and that is a problem on its own. Billions of naira just got lost. What should happen? Regional grips, not single national grip. So regional grips, let every southwest has their own, southeast has their own, let south has their own. That's my own. What should happen? Let southeast, northwest, northeast have their own automatic circuit breaker. There should be automatic circuit breakers to reduce this constant grid collapse. Complete Siemens project, because we don't even hear what Tinubu is doing or saying about it. We don't hear anything from it again. We don't even know if they have abandoned it as well. And Tinubu actually promised us that if he doesn't not give us constant supply, we should not vote for him. Don't worry, I will try to put the video here. He said if you don't supply us constant power, supply us electricity constantly, we should not vote for him for second time. So fire TCN management, because it continue to happen. Let's hire new people. Let's hire the traditional company of Nigeria. Let's hire new people. So So 2020 state can be build own grid. State can build own grid. Why have our state have not built the electricity? At least there is more money coming to state now after the removal of subsidy from Nigerians masses. So where is the money going? Why can't you use the money that is for the subsidy being paid to you that is now? Why don't you start building power plants on their own, and don't let us depend on the federal government again, since we know what federal government can do. So we already know since 1999 we know what federal government can do. Now that they've allowed states to build power plant, to build down, why haven't they started? Because I've not had any state except maybe Lagos. I've not had any state that said okay, they are embarking on a new project regarding electricity. So governors, what are you doing? What are you doing about power supply? So 5,000 megawatt for 240 million people is totally absurd. So Peter Obi has to say something. He said in January 2025 we witnessed the first grid collapse of that year, which was followed by several other collapses. Now in January 2026 the national shame has commenced with yesterday's collapse. It is utterly disappointing that for 3 consecutive years, from 2023 to 2025, our nation has been ranked as having the least access to electricity globally, with nearly 100 million citizens left without power. Oh my God, what is this? This is very sad. The Peter Obi continues, not my own statement now. South Africa, with its population of about 44 million people, generate and distribute over 40,000 megawatt. Egypt, with about 150 million population, also generate over 40,000 megawatt. Algeria, with around 48 million population, generate and distribute over 50,000 megawatt. Meanwhile, Nigeria, the giant of Africa and its most population nation with over 240 million people, produces merely 5,000 megawatt, an absurdity low figure, very low. Can we compare? The president is aware, the vice president is aware, the Akpabio is aware, the Abbas of these nations are aware. We have to follow. Why are we still? It's like our leaders actually they are not actually concerned about the general goods of the nation. The general, if they can afford it, they feel like if others should sort their own. That's why Nigerians are the ones supplying their own water. Nigerians are the ones supplying their own security. Nigerians are the ones responsible for most of their roads. They are responsible for their God. Jeez. So what you should do, what you as citizens, what I should do, what you should do, document every collab. Make sure you continue saying it. Pressure your state governor to build their own grid. They should not depend. Pressure your state governor now. Consider solar alternative. If you are a business for now, consider, because as long as they are not talking about embarking on a new project, as long as they have not decide that they need to complete all the ongoing projects or the Siemens projects, then you have to consider alternative. Vote 2027 based on the electricity plans of the candidates. Well, please vote, please do that. Please make sure you hear every presidential candidate and their plan for the electricity. Make sure they explain it in details and not just telling you peripheral, or let them have the plan to let 240 populations of Nigeria to have electricity. 86 million of Nigerians now still don't have access to electricity. So even those people that have access to it, continue to happen. Guys, we need to do something. So what else do you need to do? Share this video, like this video, comment on this video, and bring up your own ideas, own opinions, and your own suggestions, and we will all listen together in the next time. So what are the reactions of some or people concerned, people in authority? Nigerian Independent Solar System Operator said NISO's statement, the national grid experienced a system-wide disturbance which resulted in a total outage across the interconnected network.
TRC Global preliminary operational report indicate that the disturbance was associated with the simultaneous stripping of multiple 330 kV transmission lines alongside the disconnection of some grid connected generating units. System restoration activity commenced at about 13:15 hours in accordance with the established grid restoration and recovery procedures. Now, Abuja Electricity Distribution Company also said, "We regret to inform you that a system disturbance occurred on the national grid at 12:40 p.m. today, causing power outage across our franchise areas." Like I said, why there was grid collapse recently on that Friday was because simultaneous stripping of multiple 330 kV, all those powerful lines, 230 kV. I think they are the most powerful lines in Nigeria. They were just stripping and stripping and stripping and stripping until there was total collapse of the national grid and there was total darkness upon the nation. What is when are we going to solve this thing? When are we going to solve it? So now Ikeja Distribution Company also said, "Be informed that we are experiencing a system outage today, 23rd of January 2026 at around 12:40 hours, affecting all our feeders. All their feeders affected because there was continuous simultaneous stripping of all 230 kV lines. So affected Lagos, affected Abuja, affected Ibadan. Power Minister Adebayo Adebayo also has something to say. Adelabu on grid collapse. This grid requires a huge revenue for maintenance, but what we have now, we will continue to manage. They say we continue. So you hear it, you hear the power minister is once saying we continue to manage. What does that even mean? We continue to manage. Are we not above that? You've been in the past more than 2 years, and you should continue to manage. What are you doing specifically for that? So manage it and prevent frequent disturbances until we are able to completely overhaul this infrastructure. When exactly, Mr. Minister, do you have a timeline? Do you have a timeline for this? We all rely on a single national grid today. If there is a disturbance of the national grid, it affects all 36 states. I don't even understand what he's trying to say here. We all rely on a single national grid. Why must we rely on a single national grid? We're supposed to be having backups. In nations with trillions money, with about 46 million foreign, what do we call it now? With about $46 billion in US. We should have not just have about 40,000 megawatt now. We should be having a backup. If the single grid collapse, there should be a automatic power backup. Yeah? Even some houses now have a backup. Immediately there's cut off, backup will happen. Some houses have 2-3 connection, so that if there's no light in one line, they will automatically change it to second and last line. So why is the nation is not doing that? Well, will you be surprised if I tell you that even Aso Rock is budgeting billions of, not millions, billions of naira for solar. Aso Rock or the nation power. So if actually Aso Rock does not believe that there will be constant power supply, who are the country? Mr. Minister, please let us know your time frame, your timeline, and what you are actually doing, your steps you have been taking. All this explanation I don't seem to understand. Former ADC spokesman Oyebode Fadipe said the collapse of the grid at a time of low load demand frightens me. The pressure on the grid during festive periods is usually and generally low because a number of end users, especially companies, would have closed for the year. So I think that's what it said on the last collapse. That's what it said. So the former EDC spokesman Oyebode. So it is. So what it means. Let's go there. This is where discussion actually starts. What it means. So the pattern, the January cause pattern. Nigeria grid collapse in January 2025. Now again January 2026. Before that 2024 recorded A+ collapse. The pattern shows systematic failure, not isolated incident. Each new year begins with darkness. It is sad. Nigeria shameful global ranking for 3 consecutive years, 2026 to 2025. Nigeria ranked globally worst in electricity access. 86.8 million Nigerians, the highest globally, lack electricity. Only 61% of populations has access to, despite being Africa's richest oil nation. Oil nation. There's no power, and oil is power. Oil is power. Oil is money. Oil is energy. Yet Nigeria cannot supply energy. Oh, it's sad. The actual power generation gap. Nigeria 240 million people, 5,000 megawatts. South Africa 64 million people, 40,000 megawatts. Egypt 150 million people, 40,000 megawatts. Algeria 48 million people, 50,000 megawatts. Nigeria generates 1/8 of world countries with 1/4 its population produce. This is deliberate failure. This is corruption in another word. So 564 collapses in 22 years between 2000 to 2022. Nigeria grid collapsed 564 times, averaging over 2 collapses monthly. 2024 alone, we had 8+ collapses. 2025, 4 collapses. This isn't bad law. It is not. It's structural incompetence baked in the system. Technical cause: multiple lines failure. Multiple 330 kV transmission lines trip simultaneously while generating units disconnected. Grid frequency oscillates between 49.46 Hz to 50.69 Hz, far outside the stable 49.75 to 50.25 Hz range. Aging infrastructure can't handle load balance. We should consider that aging infrastructure can handle load balance. But the 7 trillion question, over 7 trillion spent on power sector interventions since privatization in 2013. Yet collapses increase. Where did the money go? Presidential Power Initiative, Siemens project, World Bank, AFT funding all fail because we don't hear anything about it again. So lessons: who are the affected? 240 million Nigerians lost power instantly. Businesses relying on grid power, barbers, welders, tailors, schoolroom operators lost billions in inventory. Hospital on grid switch to generators. Students studying for exams sat in darkness. This is national paralysis. Economic devastation collapse. Each grid collapse cost Nigerian billions. Businesses lose refrigerator goods, manufacturing halts, online businesses go offline, generator fuel prices spike, SME without backup power close. This compounds Nigeria already 33.1% unemployment rate. The single grid vulnerability. Nigeria relies on one national grid for all 36 states. Minister Adelabu admit if there is a disturbance of the national grid, it affects all 36 states. No redundancy, no regional backups. One failure equals national blackout. It is sad. This decentralization solution stall. The 2023 Act allows states to build their own grid, yet implementation crawls. State lack capital. Federal government hasn't released enabling frameworks. Decentralization promised relief, deliver nothing 3 years later. What should affected people do? Nigeria must pressure state governments to activate 2023 Electricity Act and build regional grids. Document every collapse with stamps and loses for class action suit. Suit the government. Invest in solar alternatives. Waiting for grid fixes is futile. Vote out ineffective leadership in 2023. What could have prevented this? Install automatic circuit breaker that isolates failing sections instead of total collapse. Deploy grid frequency stabilizer. Build regional grid so collapse in Lagos doesn't affect Kano. Complete Siemens Presidential Power Initiative abandon midway. Fire incompetent TSC management. So that's all I have to tell you. Now you know that Nigeria only have 5,000 megawatt. You all know that 240 million depend on that megawatt, and nations that does not even have 1/4 of our populations have more than 8 times of our electricity supply, and we are the giant of Africa. State governors, most of the state governors are already implementing the 2025 tax, but they failed to take action since 2023, when the Electricity Act has allowed them to generate their power. So they are more concerned about collecting money from the citizens, but to serve the citizen is very, very difficult. Please, a nation, even if a state does not have enough money to generate, if you can present your case very well to outsiders, to investors outside the country, they will buy into it. If Dangote alone can build refinery worth almost $12 billion, I believe there are other billionaires outside the country in dollars that will invest multiple billions of dollars into the national grid. If power supply continue to be low, the nations will even pay more, because there will now be constant losses of businesses, discouragement of youth to enter into businesses, because they know there will not be constant supply. And investing in solar is initial capital is very high. The initial capital is very high, and after 3 years is not reliable. Please, federal government, do something about this power supply, and businesses look for alternative. And I will put the video of President Tinubu when he was campaigning in 2022, saying that we should not vote for him if he does, for second time, if he does not stop the electricity. Sir, this is your second, I think this is your third. Next year now is will be about campaigning against 2027 election. Sir, you have 1 year to solve the electricity problem. The easier one for me, if I have to advise you, is to go back to the plan of Siemens with their transformers, and let us solve it. Let the nations, let there be lights. Let there be lights, sir. Please share this video to people important. Share this video to your friends. Watch it, subscribe, and encourage me to do more. I am your sons. I am your brother. I am your younger brother. Please support me, like, share, and God bless you. Here's the video.
By all means necessary, you must have electricity, and you will not pay for estimated bill anymore. A promise made will be a promise kept. If I can't keep the promise and I come back for second term, don't vote for me. That's the truth. Unless I give you adequate reasons why I couldn't deliver.